Hi, welcome back to Are We the Assholes? It's been fucking forever. I'm here with Riley and our new co-host, Kai.
Hey, but I have a question. Are we the assholes?
Oh,
Most of the time, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of
Hmm.
the whole thing.
I mean,
So
I think that's subjective, you know?
yeah, for sure. Um,
Oh,
so if you've never listened before, this is a philosophical comedy podcast where we take shit from Reddit and we react to and talk about it and try to come eventually to the conclusion of are we as humanity the assholes. And that was also for Kai because he's never listened to our show, and also
So, give a little context. I was sent every episode. I was supposed to listen to it for research, and
you didn't.
I didn't.
yeah, you even were like, we talked about it on episode 2 where you're like, Kai came up with a bunch of like songs for us to use for our intro, but he's never listened to it and has no idea. No,
Yeah, he has no idea.
Well,
so
I trusted.
we were doing this for we did this for a month, um, back right before Corona started, or right as it was starting. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We kind of stopped doing it at first. It was I don't know, just we just missed like a week, and then it just just kind of
Spiraled.
whatever. Like a lot of like changes happened specifically in like my life and as well as these guys, I'm sure. Um,
Oh yeah, it's been wild.
yeah. So like
Yeah, I lost two jobs, man. It was not great.
I'm 30 I'm 30 pounds lighter. Uh, my penis is 12 inches longer.
Of course, of course.
hmm Kai's
That's a
raising birds.
Oh
I like to keep my family out of the podcast. You know,
So they have names?
yeah.
of
Oh yeah,
course.
they do.
I've never heard of.
I think the most memorable one is Vinny Fresh. Vinny Fresh is a man. That bird is an asshole.
Oh,
Vinny's kind of a dick, yeah. But
Yeah.
Sam is like the mom. We got Kyle, who just hated eating and living, I guess.
I keep trying.
And who was it? Sasha?
Yeah.
I keep trying to get my roommates to let me just kidnap a goose and raise it in the apartment. And I've looked into it, whether raising geese indoors is like okay.
Which it's not.
Well,
I mean, same could be said for pigeons. That is a good question. I mean, what is the morality of pets, really? I mean, should you have pets? Is it
Well,
pets?
strictly speaking, no. However, like if I didn't know any better and I wasn't a free thinking individual, I'd be down to be fed, have a place to poop, and just like live somewhere.
Riley, what is being a kid if not being fed, having a place to shit, and living somewhere?
Well, I mean, it's like the whole. This is in the allegory of the cave, you know,
Oh God.
by 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 Plato. It's just if that's all you're subjected to, then I mean that's your life, and that's you'd be afraid of anything else. So I mean, if I was a dog, I feel like
Mhm.
I'd be pretty happy with my life, not being ignorant. But I mean,
Well,
like,
being me right now, I'd be happy with just being a pet to someone. Like, imagine just sleeping on the couch all day. It wouldn't be a very substantial life, but it would be a fairly stress-free one, and you just kind of live and die.
well, I mean, I feel like a dog has their duty, and like a dog follows their duty pretty well.
Huh.
Yeah, they protect the house occasionally.
Yeah,
I don't think it's just
occasionally.
that.
They shit on your rug.
I just think I think a dog, it has a feeling of commitment to doing good, even though it just doesn't do anything to help you. I mean, your dog can't do your taxes, and
Yeah,
I
So,
why
mean,
isn't he doing my taxes?
speaking of dogs, I actually have so Kai, one of our segments that we did was unpopular opinions. Our
okay,
main one is Am I the Asshole, where we look at the Am I the Asshole Reddit and we sort of discuss whether we think that the person is in the wrong or not, and look at like what they talked about on it and
yeah,
just have a fun time. Uh, But I found an unpopular opinion today that I think actually really fits with what we were just talking about regarding dogs and shitting on floors and a lot of things like that. Um, and I actually really agree with it. Hold on, let me. Shit, sorry. The
What,
way I'm
you
doing
agree
this
with
is.
shitting on floors, Max?
Well,
I'm,
listen.
I,
My roommates actually we were talking about they were like they were talking about how one of their girlfriends was having her
She's not
dog.
potty trained?
Well, I don't know about the potty trained aspect of it. I would assume not. But so like they were talking
Girlfriend?
they were talking
I'm
about
sorry. I have to go on a tangent here. Is it immoral to potty train a child?
what
Yes, let them poop freely.
Well,
God
I mean,
damn
think
it.
think about it. If you're training a child, isn't that's like a Pavlovian kind of thing? Like it's like ringing a bell.
When I ring this bell,
Oh,
you'll
No, no, no,
shit
no, no,
your
that
no.
sounds
pants.
right.
You put Cheerios, if it's a boy, you put Cheerios in the toilet and have them sink them. It's a game. It's not Pavlovian. It's more of a game.
I mean, I'm sure the dogs of Pavlov thought it was kind of a game, even though they're suffering.
Okay.
Well, we don't talk about that.
Is it Pavlov? I'm pretty sure it's Pavlov, right?
So what, Pavlov? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Ivan Pavlov.
One thing to come back to, that was just to go back to what I was saying real quick. Um, so my roommate was talking about how his girlfriend's having her dog over in her apartment, like her
Yeah.
family's dog come to visit, and he's like, oh, like he came in and like within the first 30 minutes he had already shit on the floor twice and like peed on the rug, and I was like, well, I did that when I moved in too, but like um but the unpopular opinion, and no one noticed that I said that because I said it so like nonchalantly under my breath.
You just set it to the void.
Yeah. So the unpopular opinion I came across was if I have to clean your dog's shit off my porch, I think it's perfectly fair for me to drop a dookie on your doorstep.
I thought it was going in way darker
Yeah.
direction. I mean, I feel because I have a whole super dark sense of humor. I thought you were going to talk about killing the dog.
Well, I okay. Here's what's funny. My dad, like way back when, he didn't shit on their doorstep, but there was a dog who kept on pooping on his lawn, and he was just kind of fed up with it. So he took the shit, put it in like a brown paper bag, like wrote a note on it. I don't remember what it was, but it was very sarcastic, and he just put it on their porch and left it there like a gift wrap. And he'd like spoken to the neighbor about it many times, and he's like, hey, your dog's kind of shitting in my lawn. And he's like, what the fuck ever. And so he did that. I think the guy came out and stepped in it and was very angry, and my dad just like fucking had a big laugh about it. And granted, I think I side with him. Like, if I was put in that situation, I believe me, like as a human being, like I would definitely take that course of action.
Well, like I'm always looking for excuses to poop on other people's property, and so
You're just looking for excuses to shit.
I am.
Yeah, you've been
Yeah,
telling.
Max, you just love pooping, don't you?
I
Something you
I
told me is that you just wish you had the power at any time.
yeah, I do wish I had the power to shit myself at any point in time. Um,
Be a great excuse anywhere.
no, seriously. Like I was telling Kai, so I'm on keto, and I was saying like one of the weird things that's come about from keto, and I've sort of learned to fix this because it's not. I don't really think it's a problem, but at the same time, it is. Um, is that like I just don't shit anymore? Like you know how you're supposed to like poop once every day or something? I'm like
Yeah, something like that.
once a week at this point, maybe.
That
Like
you um
but it's not like constipation or anything. It's just that I don't need to.
once a week? Is the log you drop just insane or what's going on?
Sometimes it's normal. It's not always like that.
Sometimes it's normal.
It's not always like that, and sometimes it's more concerning. But like I don't know. I do wish so like somebody brought up one of my friends brought up that a coworker at his job used to shit his pants on demand to go home sick. And I was like, I wish I had that power. not because I want to shit my pants to go home sick, because that seems like a real taking the extra mile. Like I don't.
Just fake a headache. What are you
There's a
doing?
lot of other things you could do, but like I'm like if you could get past that psychological barrier of there's pants on me and I'm in a public place and just be able to take a shit whenever, wherever, then you imagine how easy it would be to just take a shit whenever, wherever, just on your toilet.
Well, first you have to need to,
But no, 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 no,
right?
no, no. I want the power to not have to need to.
So it's just like, now would be a good time for a shit, and you just go.
Well, you know how some people can like burp on demand and stuff
Uh
like
huh.
that. I want that, but shitting.
You know, when we
Jesus
came into this
Christ.
today, I figured we'd be a bit more tame than we have been, but this might be a bit more of a.
Look, you
Maybe.
have me here now. I mean, that's it. You're done. We're gonna get canceled.
I mean, Kai's well known for his ability to shit on demand, but you know.
No, not just that,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
but I feel like I'm not the most culturally appropriate person to have on a
And that's I
podcast.
feel like that's kind of what we need though, because a lot of people are trying to be as PC as possible, but you do need to talk about these issues and like really express opinions about things. It's not no one wants to listen to the same thing over and over. And like the people who listen to the news and just very mainstream media are generally just listening to the same opinions constantly. And so I feel like the appeal to something like this would be having unpopular opinions or talking about something that's very taboo in like more of a light mannered sort of free way that a lot of people don't really get
Yeah,
day to day.
relatively unfiltered. I mean, I looked back at our first episode with you and me, Riley, and I think there was something. I think it was regarding the girl with like Down syndrome. That discussion, and there was a few times in that, and I've learned to not really like judge what you're saying before you're done because there were a few times when you were talking where I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no." I was like in my mind I'm like, "Oh, don't say this. You can't we can't start off like this. This is no, it was good."
Yeah, I can. Some of the things that come out of my mouth, like it requires the full sentence to really listen to. But if you just take like half of what I say and then run with it, it's never good.
Yeah. So I do have an Am I the Asshole? And Kai, so the way we do this is we read the title first alone, give our immediate reactions and sides, and then we elaborate on it more with the actual context of the question. And then we eventually, come to an agreement or
Yeah,
don't come to an agreement and just
I
discuss
guess
like
so.
where we stand on it. So I like this one. I haven't read a lot of these because I just saved a bunch on my Reddit.
Yeah.
Uh, so this one's called "Am I the asshole for buying 3XL shirts, like three times extra large shirts,
XXXO.
off of AliExpress? My
AliExpress. Yeah, that's a
AliExpress.
Chinese. That's a shit Chinese website, isn't it?
Okay, I'm glad you actually know, cause like that
Yeah, I don't know
brings.
what it is.
It's a it's a terrible website.
My friend's girlfriend said I'm contributing to making it impossible for plus size Chinese men to find clothing.
What I don't.
Um,
Okay, can you first explain to me what AliExpress is?
Yeah,
Because I
Kai, go
am
ahead.
unaware.
okay, here we go. So like on Amazon, like fucking 50, 60% of Amazon is just Chinese knockoff
Mhm.
garbage. Imagine you just had an entire website of only the Chinese knockoff garbage. Granted, sometimes you want just cheap garbage to fill your void in your life. Like I don't need $100 shirt. I'll take a shirt that works for a year and then I have to throw it out. Granted, I have a lot of quirky, trendy clothes. I have way too many clothes, but that's just because I'm impulsive.
So
But AliExpress is just, in my opinion, trash.
is there
So
anything
it's
that
like the bootleg like Chinese Amazon
That
part of the
and then
website.
you
Just
can also get like electronic like pieces and stuff like that.
can you buy
oh,
Snoop Dogg's game machines
wait,
on there?
How do you spell AliExpress?
It's literally ALI Express.
Yeah.
I'll read the rest of the question just because, like, well, okay, what do you think? Like, I don't know if there's enough context from the title alone to be like,
No, I'm getting it. I look. I feel like that's.
I
I
feel like
grant,
plus size Chinese men would already have clothing and like ways to get it.
and I feel like there's not very many. I think this is less of a thing, but I think being plus size is more of a. Granted, there are a very small percentage of people that don't have a choice in it. I think it's mostly a lifestyle choice, and I feel like China doesn't really have that problem.
do you mean
Compared to,
like,
compared to,
Fat
okay,
Chinese.
there's hardly any fucking fat Chinese people. I've been to China, and during my time in China, did not seen a single person who was overweight.
no, Kai, I think I remember you telling me that you saw every overweight Chinese man when you were in China.
I,
You saw all of them.
well, there's very few.
Yeah, you
I've
saw all 10 fat Chinese men
all 10, yeah.
in their club. Okay.
Okay, well, think about it this way, I guess. If you have the extra money to spend on the food that it takes to be plus size, then I feel like you'd have like enough money to at least get custom tailored clothing.
Okay. So now hold on, Riley. I have to talk about that real quick. Um it's it's a lot more expensive to buy like healthy food that's not going to get you fucked than
I
to buy a lot
disagree.
of fattening food. No,
I,
cuz like I what is it? I spend a lot right now like on my grocery trips, but I buy a tiny amount of shit. But it's because
I think you're buying the wrong things.
I'm buying the
Well,
stuff that
you are doing a
Actually,
you're doing a certain diet, and I respect that. But when me and Riley go to the store, we spend $200 for the fucking like month and a half so far. Granted, we eat out every once in a while.
you
That's just because
also
I'm too lazy to cook.
I think you both eat more than I do at this point
oh, for sure.
because I don't eat much at all during the
I
day.
mean, how much is a bag of fucking rice? I mean, you can go to the store get 50 pounds for $60 at
But
like the Asian supermarket.
like I mean like a lot of processed like okay, well, I guess this is the direct comparison that I'm thinking of. Um I have like this is very me specific cuz I just really like smoked Gouda. But I bought a block like this wheel of vast cast
Oh,
smoked Gouda today
Holy
and
shit.
it was $9 and I bought
What?
a bag of processed sliced smoked Gouda and it was like $4 as well. And it was there was pretty much just as much Gouda, essentially, but it was just the quality of the Gouda. And so
yeah.
like the processed is definitely more unhealthy for you generally. And so like my thought is also like take like I don't know, gluten-free shit versus non-gluten-free shit or like organic milk versus non-organic milk or McDonald's versus buying a burger and making your own like nice burgers or whatever,
Well,
or going to a restaurant.
here's my opinion on organic shit.
I'm about to agree with
Wasteful.
you. I agree with you
They're
100%.
very wasteful because the entire reason we have GMOs is to reduce the amount of nutrients that the plant takes out of the soil to make said crop.
It is far more water, pesticide, and also land like nutrient effective. It requires less land, they require less nutrients, less water, and they don't have to be sprayed if there's any pesticides.
Are
And
you
they're just as healthy, or even sometimes, in many cases, GMOs, they're altered to be even more nutritious than regular organic foods. Because it's up. This is just a fact by me. I feel like I'll double check myself right now. Uh, I think that the waste amount for organic vegetables was something ridiculously high, like a third of all their vegetables.
wow? Okay, cool. So maybe I'm just totally wrong. No, well, like my overall point is that, and my examples are probably pretty bad, but my overall point was that like um it doesn't take much money to get fat. You know, like you could buy a
I agree.
dollar McDonald's burger like every day
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
get fat
And
off of that.
I agree with that.
Um,
Vegetables and fruits are expensive depending on where you live. If you live in a farming community or a place with a lot of orchards, then that's not really going to be the case.
it,
But
if you eat
you
a
live in a city or
shitload of
something.
and if you eat a shitload of vegetables, you can also get fat. I'll read the
Well,
full context of this
Oh
thing.
okay.
yeah, we need.
Okay. I need a
Um,
context.
I generally get my t-shirts off of AliExpress. I sweat a lot, so it works out well. It's Chinese sizing, so I get 3XL. I wear a medium large in USA because of the long shipping time. It's a good deal. Sorry, I was trying to pick that sentence apart in my mind real quick. I told my friend about this, and then his girlfriend starts telling me that what I'm doing is messed up, that I'm contributing to a clothing crisis in China for plus sized people. I was like, I'm pretty sure the
So,
factory can always make more. She insists
so,
that I stop that plus size Chinese have no voice,
um,
and that's why I can't see any information on it. I asked her
if
how
there,
she knows this, and she told me that she has a sociology degree, so she knows
Ah,
I don't mind paying a few extra dollars, but I never heard of this problem. Am I wrong here for getting cheaper shirts?
well, okay. Let's just boil it down real quick. If they had a crisis in China, wouldn't there be no shirts for them?
I think that's what she's
I
trying to say.
I think the laws of supply and demand are very easy to understand here.
Is there.
Can you refresh my memory? When the supply goes down, what happens to the price?
Oh,
Exactly. So if he's buying cheap shirts during a shortage of shirts in China, shouldn't they be more expensive?
Dude, this
I think
sociology degree.
you lost me at sociology degree.
Yeah, what the hell?
No
No, no.
offense to anybody who has a
I
sociology
like
degree,
I like
but
the
man,
premise that this woman's coming up with though is that there is a large group of unspoke like of silently oppressed fat Chinese men who walk around with
and
no
women.
shirts because they can't afford. I She said, "Man,
okay.
I
Well,
don't
no,
think
she's
she."
just being. A sociology degree should teach you at least that men and women are equal, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think the idea wasn't that like the fat women don't matter and they can walk around. I thought it
Or
was
don't
just I
exist.
just thought it was just that like, well, there's more fat Chinese men and that they're
Yeah.
the core
So
problem.
Well,
that
probably.
leads me to my next point. Yeah, if he's buying a double XL off of a Chinese website, and if it's fitted for Chinese people, like he was saying, if a double XL is a just a medium large in the states,
That's me.
Yeah,
that is me. That's me as well.
that was
So,
me 2 months ago. So,
so thinking about it, they're already mass producing massive amounts of this clothing to ship to the United States, but they're selling it in China as well.
but doesn't
I
that
mean,
also directly counteract her point of there aren't a bunch of fat Chinese men that are needing this?
exactly. There's not very many.
Man, China,
It,
got it
China. I
figured
mean,
out.
I honestly, in no offense, I'm sure there's no one from China ever gonna listen to this or hear this. China sucks, like 100%.
Well,
It kind of
I
sucks. Yeah.
think that the people
It
from
does.
China are the people saying that China sucks the most right now, though, right?
Yeah,
Like
No, no,
especially
China's.
in Hong
actually,
Kong.
that is in Hong Kong, which isn't part of China. I mean, shouldn't be. Now
Will
it
be.
is. No, hopefully not.
It's
Many
gonna
Chinese people are pretty content with their lives in China because I mean, if it's young people who are born into China and it's like North Korea, they don't have any experience of the outside world really.
Well, I was talking more like on like the overpopulation problem, the censorship issues, like things that
Our overpopulation problem was like kind of over, I thought.
it is.
They
I
wrapped
don't
it, they
know
be. Yeah,
wrapped
the
the
shit,
voting
project
rights
so
have been abolished, right?
Uh, I mean, you can have two kids now.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
Yeah, that's good. We're getting
they
better.
kill the third. Um,
I
No,
mean,
they give them
they
to
kill all of
orphanages.
them.
they give them to plants. They're processed into
Yeah.
Gouda cheese for me. Um, or for shirts for the extra. I don't know.
So
The
Um,
kids with the shirts.
I think we don't need to talk about this anymore. I think we're unanimous in this man is not the asshole at all.
yeah, and his
And
his friend's girlfriend is incredibly
Is
stupid.
She needs to
yeah,
do a bit more research on how supply and demand works.
and also how many shirts are produced a day.
I
Oh, so
Here,
many.
let's do a quick Google search. Uh, how many shirts are made a day?
How many shirts?
I'm just gonna check real quick to see. Well, first I got somebody who's like, that is some wacky shit. Problems in China are the genocide of the Uyghurs, destruction of the
The
freedom in Hong
Muslims.
Kong, and
Okay,
territorial disputes in South China Sea. Hard for
that's
fat
good.
guys to, to find shirts? Like,
Yeah, he's 100% correct.
I would love
Yeah,
to see the list
this is
of high
this is
priority
a
issues.
non-existent problem. Well, maybe it's a problem. I'm just saying, like, if we can buy them for cheap, so can they.
So
Uh,
each year, 2 billion T-shirts are sold worldwide.
really? That,
2 billion
does that mean
shirts.
that does that
It
mean
seems like
that
there's an abundance of
there
shirts
there are
right now.
5 billion people just not wearing shirts?
Well, I mean, you have an old shirt. I mean, how often do you buy a new shirt?
God damn it, Kai! I was making a joke.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Before we do another one, I was curious. So, Kai, before we started this, you did say that you had some topics that you specifically wanted to talk about. That,
Indeed.
and I think
Uh,
that I said that was funny because you didn't even know what our podcast was about. But if you want to throw one out there, I mean, go for it. It's all on you.
all right. So I think last year, no, it might be 2 years ago at this point. I went to Thailand, or not Thailand, sorry, Belize.
I think that was two
Uh,
years ago, right?
Thailand was 2 years ago, yeah. I've been to quite a few of these poor, impoverished places, and I have to say, quality of life there for as an American is great, but obviously local lives are pretty shit. But the one thing that I noticed that everyone could bond over was fighting. So in the States here we have human fighting, we have boxing, mixed martial
Right.
arts, etc. I like mixed martial arts. But down there, say in Thailand, they have like cockfighting or even bullfighting, and betting was large. I would be in full support of cockfighting or bullfighting being brought to the U.S. But what are your
Well,
guys' opinions?
okay. Um, I mean, like, it's sticking two animals against each other. Granted, like, they're trying to kill each other of their own volition, but they don't have any other circumstances in which they can actually live their life.
Well, so I would argue that, like, first of all, I see the main issue with cockfighting is the way that they treat the animals that they're raising to fight, right?
Okay,
I mean,
fair.
I'm right, right? I don't know
Yeah,
too much about
you're
cockfighting.
correct. It's not humane in any way.
Yeah, but
They're
at
raised in like a cage and
the
then they're like whatever.
same time, that's not much different than like what
The
we're
meat
doing with
industry.
those like mass production farms
Yeah,
and stuff. Like that's I would argue worse in some ways, like in a
yeah.
lot of ways. So like I don't know. I think that like raising animals to fight each other, while yeah, shitty in a lot of ways, it's maybe like I don't know. I'm not. I think that it's like wow.
Well, I think so. One of my main reasons is if you really look, is America's on I think a little bit on its own too low on the quality of life places to live. A lot of people will say in like Europe, especially more of Western Europe, really look down on America. But being I have gone to Europe, it is just as bad as the U.S. It has basically all the same fucking problems, minus the fact that healthcare and shit like that. But in the places up north, like that, everyone's quote unquote the best places to live. It's just fucking boring. Nothing happens. You don't do anything. You go to work, go home, go to sleep, and sometimes go on vacation. But you're content with it for whatever reason. I don't know how they don't have the principle called, like, say, the hedonic treadmill, where you're happy and then you go back to content and then you try and like find happiness again. I don't know why they're not having that issue, but these places like that, I think they could really benefit from just something. And
Okay. Okay.
it's an animal that, I mean, you know how big a chicken's brain is. It can't even really understand anything. I mean,
Here's
it
what
just
I take issue with. I'm not saying that I'm in support of like animals fighting each other to the death for the amusement of people. Like that's
okay.
kind of fucked up. However, we do have a double standard, and it's funny that Max brought up the animal farms and the mass production farms
Things
because
that
it's
are necessary for
yeah, well,
sustainable life.
necessary. That's the thing. It's a complete double
Yeah,
standard. It's like, hey, we can do this for our preservation, but if we do this for any other means, it's wrong. So saying is it right or wrong necessarily, it it is wrong.
Um,
The mass production farms is wrong. We can survive on a plant-based diet.
for
Uh,
quite some time before needing protein.
right.
yeah,
At,
and we can
at some
take
point you need
supplements for that.
I uh,
So
I
it. Yeah.
I think that it's comparable to, well, Riley, what you're saying is like, because it's a necessity, it's fine. Or you're saying that there's that double standard of like, since it's a necessity, we're
that's
okay
how
with it,
people view it. Yeah,
but when it's not a necessity, then it becomes super wrong. I
Yeah.
th- I I think what's interesting, and I don't actually know really. This is I don't know. I don't know too much about the topic, but this is interesting to me because I saw this, and it's related to this is the idea of canned lion hunting, of like, where, do you either of you know what that is?
no,
It's like where they say farmers in like Africa will protect animals, and then poachers would be licensed and paid large sums of money to go like hunt, say, like a rhino or an endangered species like a lion.
Yeah, yeah,
It's beneficial because it grows basically more lions and makes them less endangered.
yeah. So people are looking at that and saying that because there is no, and it's really strange to me because it's specifically canned lion hunting that people are looking at as wrong from what I saw, because I saw some like stuff about it on social media that was like, oh, look at this, and it's just a dude shooting the lion, and they're like,
Yeah,
this is awful, and then
yeah.
people are talking about in the comments and are like, oh, it's terrible, and I was like, okay, yeah, and then I looked up canned lion hunting, and I'm like, oh, so that's what's weird about it, but the thing people are complaining about is essentially that the lions are don't have a way to fight back, I guess, because they're like trapped in this space like
Well, I
meant
mean,
for,
I mean, those people still can die. I mean, there was just
yeah,
a guy the other day who got killed,
and
and
I
they
don't
called him a poacher, which he wasn't. He
I
paid like
don't
$250,000 to shoot a fucking lion,
I
which
don't
$250,000 in funding to keep lions safe is pretty good.
yeah,
Think $250,000. That's like 1,000 lions for one death.
it's
yeah.
greater good though,
I
I mean,
right?
it's
Like
populous, but I mean,
it's the
what can you
greater
say?
good.
it's fucked up, but like it paves the way for future generations to be born.
Yeah.
Right. But are those generations born into that sort of like Promised Neverland style, raised to like die lion space, or
Well, not forever, I
Well, I
imagine.
mean, they can't. The rules say, I mean, that you can't keep the lion on your property
Oh, okay.
for like ever.
I
I mean,
just I just don't get, like, I was looking at this and I just don't get why people are mad at this as averse to just any other hunting of a lion in the wild. Eh,
I think that as Americans, because believe it or not, we kind of dominate all media.
oh,
All
for
forms of
sure.
media are generally centered around America.
For sure.
It's kind of paved a way to people not really having anything to think about, especially as a first world, which is an outdated term, a westernized nation. We are bored with our daily mundane shit, so we're looking for something to be outraged at, and it ends up being the wrong thing as always.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, yeah, ugh, I don't know. I think that's kind of I mean, I started the lion topic on there just because I thought it would sort
Yeah.
of be comparable to our
No, it is. Yeah.
bring us back to the cockfighting, but at the same time, like, it's weird, right? Because like in this case, big game hunting, of lions like in just the wild, that's not as necessary maybe as
Yeah.
canned lion hunting, which means that
Well,
people are getting
there's always
mad.
gonna be poachers. There's always gonna be poachers, and they're gonna go crush the lion bones in the fucking boner
Yeah.
belt or whatever.
It's okay. Here's the thing. Do we raise domestic lions and kill those, or do we basically ruin the wild lion population and make it so that they can't live on their own anymore? And kind of ruin an ecosystem as we go.
Right.
Well,
It's kind of like the lesser of two evils, in my opinion. Granted, it's not fine whatsoever in any way that you look at it, but if you can preserve a wild lion's natural habitat and keep it so that they can still survive on their own, then in my opinion, I would rather them be grown in a cage and then shot, live like they live a good life. It's not like they're starving half the fucking time. Like it just, in my opinion, is the lesser of two evils. It's not
well,
good by any means.
that can bring us into a whole new can of worms. So I'm not gonna get into that until we finish the topic. But I think the biggest double standard is Americans will go to, say, Thailand, go to a cockfight, bet a decent chunk of change for the locals, which is pennies in the U.S., and they'll bet on these cockfights, watch the cockfights, be fine with it, have some drinks, have fun, but they don't want that same thing in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a double standard.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
a
As
lot
long
of
as your
that.
I
life
think
is
that's a very westernized idea that we like to do bad things, but not where we live. So
Mm,
it's like throwing away your trash somewhere else.
that is true. So you're saying it's mostly Americans who go and watch those cockfights?
No, it's everybody.
Oh, all right.
I mean, I
well,
bet Australians.
Kai, it's kind of like you're fine with putting your trash into the dump, but once it gets close to your house, like the dump gets bigger and bigger and it gets closer to your house, you have a problem with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So once it
Yeah.
starts affecting your life and your way of like you're living, it's not a problem until then.
Well,
I do agree with that, but I do think that's a it's kind of a selfish way to look at it.
yeah, because Riley, if you're looking at it like that, well, I think what you're saying is like no matter what, it's affecting your life is the thing. If it's affecting your life in a good way, you're fine with that. It's affecting your life in a bad way, then you're not. So like when you're entertained by the cockfighting in a foreign country, you're okay with that. But then when it's reflecting on your community, then it's a bad thing. But it's similar with the garbage thing, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm using this to get rid of my shit. But when I have to deal with it, then it's a bad
Yeah,
thing. So that's like a real kind of shitty. I mean, everyone does that. And it
yeah.
sucks. Because we look at everything that way.
I think
I
it's just a human thing.
I pissed down the trash chute. Riley and I were talking. We were talking about this before we started. I pissed down the trash chute in my apartment building while intoxicated, and I had fun with that. But at the same time, like, if it came to bite me in the ass, that would suck. And also, I'm not looking at it from like whoever has to find out that I pissed down the trash chute.
Well, I mean,
And
there's trash. Can't just go in the trash.
yeah,
But I understand your
at
I
the same
understand
time,
your point.
well, it's the same if I had peed on the floor or something. It's like I'm looking at it as like I as a funny story, like a funny drunk story maybe. But then there's
Right.
also the janitor who has to clean up the piss. And then when I get a job as the janitor who has to clean up the piss, then I'm
It's
going to be angry at those who do the exact same thing I did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
And moving on to a new topic. I mean, not much more to say. I feel there's not a very general consensus other than it's a human thing to not want it where you live, but whatever.
Well, do you
But
want cockfighting here, Kai?
yes,
I'm down with it.
I think that gambling is albeit an unhealthy way of coping and an unhealthy way of having fun. But there's not very many good ways to have fun these days. I
Yeah.
mean, think of what most boomers do. They just sit at the TV and
And
drink too much beer.
yeah. definitely. All right. You said moving on to a new topic. Do you have something else?
I have one more topic,
Okay, sweet.
but let's do a am I the asshole first?
Oh, all right. I'll grab one, and you guys are free to look for them while we're doing it as well.
Dude,
Nah,
I'm
Uh,
just browsing AliExpress right now. Don't
it's
mind
not
me.
God damn it.
browsing. Oh my god, fuck.
Well, there's things here I never knew I wanted.
Ugh, that they're getting you. More
Okay.
consumerism.
Printers for like $200. Are you kidding
Do you
me?
think they're gonna work well? No.
Yeah, but it's a 3D printer that'll work maybe twice.
This one is
What do you possibly 3D print twice?
this one is what? It only
Um,
prints things twice?
before it like breaks.
Maybe.
Oh. Uh,
Hopefully.
so I got this one because it kind of it's very close to the heart. It's am I the asshole for quote unquote verbally abusing my cats? And we can stretch this to pets in general.
Next. Come on.
Everyone talks to their animals like a dickhead. It's just a tone of voice. They don't speak English. They don't know what you're saying. But if you say it in a loving way, then they think you're loving them.
I'm looking to see if there's anything like interesting in the actual thing.
No, just skip it, man. I don't want to talk about
I
this.
just thought it
Have you
was
seen Despicable Me? You know that scene where he's faking to be a dentist, Gru is, and he's like adopting the kids, and then he tells the lady something in Spanish. He said that she looks like a donkey, right? And then she's like super like, oh, okay, because she doesn't know what he's saying.
is
So in that moment,
What a terrible analogy.
he's
yeah, I'm not at all. Are you
She feels good, but the cat or the animal won't ever figure out what you said exactly.
are you comparing like women to pets, Riley?
No, not at all. I'm just saying, like, you could call a dog a fucking asshole and just like smile and pet them and say it in a loving way, and they'll think that you're saying something nice about them,
Yeah, I agree.
and they'll never figure out otherwise.
Yeah, that's what everyone
So it
else
doesn't
is.
it doesn't necessarily matter what
right.
you say to them.
Next fucking topic. Let's not go on
Fine,
a
fine.
tangent
I'll find a
disagreeing.
good one. I just
That was garbage.
I know kind of.
I understand why, but just nah. I don't want to talk about pets. I don't like pets.
I'm looking at this real quick.
I got one.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Teachers should stop asking kids what they want to be when they grow up, but instead ask what they love doing.
Oh, that's also one I had on here. That's an unpopular opinion, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
That was one of my biggest issues during school because they always push this, what are you going to do when you grow up? It's like, it, it's not, it doesn't get you anywhere. It just, because it's already on your mind. Like, high school isn't going to last forever. What the fuck are you going to do when you get out? And so you're already mulling over these like options, and then your teacher's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" It's like I didn't have an answer before. I don't have an answer now.
It's
I
also
mean, I still don't have an answer, man.
it's also a meaningless question
Agreed.
because it's gonna change so much over the course of your life, especially if you're like a young kid. So that like
Yeah.
asking them what they like to do is much more because that
When I was
doesn't.
in the second grade, I wanted to fly a plane, and then in the same year, I was like, "Nah, I want to be an architect and design buildings."
I want to be.
I mean, you just feel it. Yeah.
I had this. I wanted to be a marine biologist, and now I look at the ocean. I'm like,
I
the
did
fuck
too.
is that? Fish fucking it.
There's a whale coming.
I mean, that's what I'm. I mean, I just wanted to be a marine biologist for way too long, and I still kind of do, but I know it's not worth my time and spit. But
Worth its
I
weight.
mean, like, I could, yeah, I know, but I can answer just about any question you have about the ocean or about ocean life.
How many fish are in it?
That's still unknown.
Well,
So
then you can't answer it, Kai.
That's a theoretical question
Well,
that
he
no
did say
one can answer.
Hey, Kai. Hey, Kai.
So fair enough.
Yeah.
What is the ocean?
A large body of water.
A large body of water covering most of the Earth's surface.
Is it
Around
real?
70%.
Yeah. You know it's real. You've lived by it for most of your life.
I'm still not convinced.
Yeah. There are people who go their whole lives with seeing the ocean.
Without seeing the ocean.
I mean,
you mean.
the opposite is weird.
Dude, they've only ever lived staring at the ocean.
I mean, that's true too.
Maybe
I mean-
one guy.
I don't even think about besides the fact that the ocean. God damn it.
What?
You guys are assholes.
Why are we assholes?
We are assholes, yes.
You're like kids.
Why are we kids? For the
Kids
questions we
suck,
asked
they
you?
procrastinate on every. Kids like do that thing where like if they're trying to get them to eat, they'll try every way to get out of it. So like, how many
Until you
fish are in the ocean?
Alright, that's the secret.
What is the ocean? Is the ocean real? What is air?
What is air, honestly?
I don't know. Did you know what I was?
Nitrogen? No. What is
Dude.
it? Nitrogen?
Nitrogen,
Oxygen.
oxygen.
No.
Guys.
That's basically it.
Oh,
This
this.
is a hard one.
Let's get back on topic.
No.
here.
I got something I
We
need
gotta
to.
figure out what air is.
No. I actually have to bounce off of that with something
Okay.
that you just made me remember.
Okay.
Riley, when I was actually Kai, I knew you back then, but I didn't know Riley. I don't think. Maybe I did.
Dude, we know each other since like before middle school.
Yeah, and
I witnessed Max's birth.
yeah, Kai was there.
No, Max is older than you.
I was in elementary school at some point
Okay.
in Montessori. I think it was back right after we went to Marie Drake. I used to think that I could quote unquote see air because like I used to think, that like sort of that sort of like blurry. It's just eyesight.
Yeah,
It's just
the
fucking
floaties.
eyesight. Yeah, the floaties. I used to think that was me like seeing air or seeing atoms. I was like, dude, I am
You're a fucking idiot.
the biggest dude. Well, this was the same year when like
You
Ian.
didn't think it was on your eyeball.
Ian no,
I can see you fucking idiot.
I could see air. To be fair, I was a huge dumbass back then. This is the same year when Ian used to.
Everyone was.
Yeah, I know. Ian used to pull this shit on me where he was, our friend Ian, he used to pull this shit on me where he was like, convinced me that he was teaching me magic and wizardry. Looking back.
Okay, I'm gonna look back real quick. I don't think I was as big of an idiot as you were.
Well, no. I didn't actually, like back then, I'm pretty sure it was just like an excuse for us to just have fun.
Well, you want to believe.
Yeah,
well.
you want to.
Like,
That was the
that's
thing.
about magic, and like as a kid, like you want to believe that there's magic in the world because the real world sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like we used to. Yeah, it was fucking dumb, but it was so. That just made me think of that. Yeah, I don't know.
Max can see air.
I can't.
That's the title for the episode right there.
I can see air. I wanted to name this. I actually was thinking about the title of the episode for the. I wanted to name it. Are We the Assholes? Episode 5: Episode 1: The sequel. It's
Parentheses, Max can see air.
Yeah. Make it the longest title.
what? Episode 5: Episode 1: The sequel.
Dash
Max
the best
can
one.
see air.
Dash the underscore. Just keep going.
Episode 1, 2.
Semicolon hash.
Oh man.
Semicolon hash. Max can see air and hash. Or
Season
can
2.
he?
Hash is the ocean real.
Just cover every topic we talked about.
It's a full transcript.
Exactly.
Just write out the script. That's the title.
It's just episode 5 and the entire script of Shrek 2.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Man. I hate Shrek.
But going on, okay, Max. Like one more thing that I need to say before we continue. Um, when I was younger, you know how I have different colored eyes?
You do?
Yeah,
I would see in different hues.
yeah,
So like I would close my left eye, and then I a lot of you know when you wear ski goggles or like
yeah.
it might be like orange and everything would be tinted orange. That would be like my right eye, and then it would be the blue ski goggles for my left.
Is that true?
Were you just looking at the sun too much? That's probably what I
No,
think you were doing.
Did you constantly
no,
have that? That's what they do when you like. Have you ever gotten your eyes dilated by a doctor?
no.
No.
They like put shit on your eyes to make them dilated for like long periods of
Mm.
time. And first of all, you look fucking insane. Second of all, like it's literally like having an orange filter over your vision or
What
whatever
covered
like
it?
color paint they put on your eye. Like I don't know.
Mhm. You said some weird messed up brain thing. You had an aneurysm or something, a seizure.
Wait, Riley, does this is this still a thing for you?
Not anymore. I think it's like more autocorrect now that my brain's like actually more developed.
It sounds
It's
like
like
a
it
complex.
is still kind of there. Like I'm switching my eyes right now and it looks super stupid, but one is definitely more of an orange
The
hue than
only
the other.
thing I
Like
notice
it's very
is
subtle, but
that one of my eyes is worse than
Not one
the
of
other.
my eyes is also worse, and man, I think we're soul brothers. My dad fucked your mom. Did you? You know, I always hated that shit. Oh, my dad can beat up your dad.
I want to. Are you saying that we should replace that, like, as your kid, like, my
You're
dad
my
fucked your
brother.
mom? Oh,
That'd be funny, honestly.
cockfighting, dad fighting.
yes.
It means the same thing.
I would. I want to see two geese go at it.
Yeah, you could just look out your window. You live in fucking Boise.
I've never seen two geese just fight with like
Well,
weapons or
get
not
some bird
weapons.
watching binoculars.
Bird watching is fucking stupid.
Well, then I guess you're never gonna see geese out of the
Yeah,
report.
I don't need to bird watch to look at geese. All right.
That's literally bird watching.
Shit. I'm bird watching all the time.
Yeah.
Oh
you look
man.
like a fucking asshole with your
Uh,
fucking like cargo shorts and your button-up shirt. You got your sandals on. You're on your roof, just like, hey, get away from the geese. I try to look at them.
when the fuck have you ever seen me wear sandals?
I
Like
honestly,
it was the only thing you took issue with.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
imagine you throwing bread at people.
Not the geese, the people. Get the
Yeah,
geese to attack them.
yeah, exactly. You could definitely do that. That would work.
Just hit a baguette on someone's shirt and while they're walking past you.
Yeah, you know how much a fucking baguette costs in the U.S. Like a fresh one, those are expensive.
Dude,
I
it
don't.
doesn't cost as much as the enjoyment you'll get out of it.
I have a
I
fun
don't have a
one.
baguette. Okay, go for it.
Am I the asshole for just the title alone is fun and we can build off of this a lot and also read the actual thing and talk about. Am I the asshole for abandoning my wheelchair bound best friend in a mall parking lot? Hello? Oh god, why is that
Okay, let's hear it.
that
Let's
was an
hear it.
incredible moment of silence.
No, yeah, I mean, just don't worry about it. Like, let's hear it.
You just want to hear the whole thing straight off the bat?
Yeah, yeah.
Riley, how do you feel about this?
Well, okay. There's a lot to unpack here, but I feel like we need the full story to be able to judge this because this
Alright,
is
fine.
kind of curious.
I've been friends with, let's just call her A, for about 11 years. That
Hey, wow.
3 years ago, she was involved in a car accident which left her wheelchair bound. I'm 16 now, and I've been her best friend since I was 5. Her crash was a rough time for me personally as well. Of course, not as rough as hers, since my friend was in a car crash, and I just lost my dog. You lost your legs, I lost my dog.
Okay.
But I put her in front
That
of.
is too
I
terrible.
put her in front of losing my dog, even though 13-year-old me was wrecked and tried my best to be her rock while she was in rough times. After she got better, we hung out, and it was like the same as before. Just that as time went on, I felt like the power balance wasn't equal anymore. Oh, that's a really fun way to say. Okay. Uh,
Okay, continue.
I was always taking care of her, and everything had to go her way. To an extent, I was okay with this since I couldn't fathom going through what she was going through. So I kept my mouth shut and was there for her. Every phone call, every text, every "can you do this for me?" quote unquote, I did it. But at one point, I found that I held some resentment towards her. And this
Mhm.
grew as everyone around me just expected me to take care of her. I couldn't do certain things because it reminded her of when she could walk, and I couldn't hang out with other people because she felt like she was losing me. I had to get up whenever she wanted to get something, pick up whatever food she ordered, tie her shoelaces, carry her bags around, walk her dog, take her things to class, and so on. Whenever I complained or tried to vent, I was always hit with the "but imagine what she's going through, poor thing." And so the resentment grew and grew. This blew up yesterday. Yesterday, we were at the mall picking things out. Even though because of my asthma, I really didn't want to go out, and she got caught with some unpaid clothes in her bag. She just blamed me in front of everyone in the store. And only when the security camera showed her putting something in her bag, she admitted to lying. I was furious, and after I called a car for her, I told her to stay away from me and find someone else to take care of your lazy ass since I'm not your fucking mom, and left her in the surprisingly well lit parking lot. Her mother, who was absent through a lot of this time due to God knows what, phoned my mother saying I broke her daughter's heart and abandoned her in a parking lot. And everyone except for my dad is telling me that I crossed a line and put her in danger, and to put myself in her shoes. Everyone is telling me that I am not a true friend and that I am selfish. It is kind of getting in my head. And I don't know if I'm as right as I thought I was. They just wrote ID, so I was like, fucking. Sorry about how long this is. This was about 2.5 years worth of venting. But am I the asshole?
Okay.
No.
Yes and no. I mean,
No.
look. I mean, they're obviously fucking young people, which I can't respect. Being young is a degenerate to be.
I can't respect being young.
Yeah, honestly, being young is just stupid. So I can't agree with stealing, but I understand why she probably was stealing. I don't think she was stealing for the fact that she wanted it. She's probably stealing because
It's a power
she's
move.
obviously there. She's there to shop. She has the money to buy things, but she's obviously acting out. I mean, imagine being able to walk one day and then not being able to fucking walk. Your whole life's gonna flip. You're gonna be
I
depressed and anxious and shit. It's probably one of the worst things that any human could go through. Losing a function.
already come to terms with it. I've met people who are
It would take years.
the best outlooks on life.
It could take. Oh yeah, but it could take years to actually come to terms with it, especially if you're young.
But that
Neighbor and friend who bent over backwards for her, she
Look,
blamed. Are you kidding me? No, fuck her.
I think that's
she
shitty. I do
she
think that's shitty.
she
I think that
doesn't her not coming to terms with it, or even just the fact that she's going through something
I
like this, does not mean that that is her friend's responsibility, especially because this has
I
been
agree with that,
more
but
than like a year.
I also think that he's kind of the asshole because if you really have a problem, and this is coming from past like relationships, you have to just sit down calmly and talk it through in a calm manner. Not like because most people will take that as have an argument. Nah, you have to just go and have a conversation rather than do anything else. Because the fact that he was dissatisfied and was resenting this person means that it's his own fault for getting to that point.
That is true, um, to an ex-
No.
to
Though
an
I can't,
extent.
I don't respect blaming. I would never blame any of my own things on someone else.
But as somebody who for a long time wasn't good at that type of communication, like it is it's a lot to like to just It's
Yeah.
the little things that build up. And coming at this person, especially because like she probably or he or she, like we don't know the question asker. Um, they probably don't like. It's not necessarily the case that fuck. Sorry, give me a second. I'm just spacing out for a minute. It's probably not like necessarily the case that like there was one like that they might not even realize that all these little things are building up until they snapped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
also, she's not in danger in the parking lot. She literally called her a car to come and pick her up. Her friend did.
Kai, you're talking about the sitting down and having a conversation. That's a perfect world. How many times in your life have you done that versus actually like going with your emotions in the moment?
Every time that I preemptively go out of my way and plan to do that, it has gone well for me. If
So,
I've just done it on this, on a, if I,
They just
if I,
went to the store together and she stole
yeah,
something and blamed it on the person.
that I agree with is bad. But
You wouldn't have just dipped?
no, I'm not saying he's the asshole for that. I'm saying that he's the asshole for not expressing his feelings sooner.
uh,
But
it,
I don't blame either of them.
it
I
sounds.
I don't think either of them is an asshole for what happened
I
there, both
think
feeling.
that no matter what, the fact that her friend, or I don't know, the fact that um, stole something and then blamed it on her friend. I think that there's nothing that you can say that's like, oh well, they were, they're going through a rough time.
I think that's friendship ruining, but I don't really blame her as a person for it.
Oh, I do. Completely.
That's I mean, I can understand where she's coming from. That's a classic like act out kind of move where you're
Well,
acting
yeah,
out, stealing some
shoplifting
shit.
is, but
Yeah,
blaming
and
it on
then
like the person that supports you the most,
true. I agree with that.
and not just like doing that, like insisting that it was her. Like that's until there was legit evidence to
Yeah,
say not. Like that's bullshit.
yeah, I agree with that.
Completely.
And then still,
I think there's partial assholery on both sides. One very much more so, but I don't overall. I don't blame either of them.
The friend is not an asshole whatsoever.
Definitely for not communicating that. If you get to the point of having resentment, then you shouldn't be friends with that person anymore. Yes, you've always obviously not made it work.
it also depends that well,
They're also like 16.
yeah, well, so there's that,
True.
and that level of like communication comes from experience and having fucked
Wisdom.
up like this before. Like,
Yeah, that's why. That's another reason why I don't think either of them's the asshole. I mean, it's just they're going through being young.
I
I'm not gonna lie.
guess. I don't know, man. Like,
Like, think of how much bullshit you did when you were 16.
I did.
Oh, tons.
I
Same.
yeah, I pulled some garbage, but I also did some great shit.
Like what? I'm not gonna
Uh,
get into
I helped.
that. Let's skip that.
What? Like what? As in
No,
good shit?
no, I'm just sniping. Don't worry.
Ooh.
Next topic.
Next fucking. That one was pretty shitty. I mean,
What do you mean?
yeah. It's upsetting on both sides, really.
That's true. Welcome to the show. We've had a lot of. Well, I don't know. Riley, you got anything?
As a parent, I think gaming is educational and is a great way for a kid slash teen to spend their time.
Yeah.
Thought?
That's it.
Well, it's just the title, and like it doesn't really need to be like
Yeah, all right. I agree with that.
I I think so, but I also think that it really depends.
Yeah,
Cause
who grew up with so much, like so many video games at my disposal, it kind of consumed a lot of my life in a lot of areas that I kind of regretted letting consume.
Well, I think that in many cases, think of like being a kid. It's like you're at home, you're being told what to do. You go to school, you get told what to do. It ends up being like more than 12 hours a day of someone telling you what the fuck to do. and then you get to your own real time, and of course you're tired throughout the day. And if you say you have what most kids go through these days, which is sad, very bad childhood or bad things happening, you need an escape somehow. And some kids will go escape through sports or whatever.
And
I
drugs.
don't in drugs. I do think that video games are probably, or being on the computer just alone, is magnitudes better than say like things I do, like smoking cigarettes and overindulging myself in alcohol. Like, should it consume your entire life? Should you neglect your bodily health and diet? No, but I do think it's a very valuable resource in the 21st century.
There
I
are a lot more facets that you could get caught up into that are far worse than video games.
I
Yeah.
think to a certain extent that it's a good thing, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like uh, there are examples like where I don't know, man. I guess this is such a weird thing because I look at it as really like when I was younger, it was more like something I would have stood and said, "Yeah, this is kind of true." But now I look at it, I'm like, I mean, but at the same time, it still is kind of true. Do you ever get that that like feeling that like uh people you met who like played a lot of Call of Duty or anything like that on their Xbox just were stupider?
Mac,
I think that's a not I think that's a that's a correlation, not in the way that
Not
Call of Duty made them
causation.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
correlation causation.
But I mean, at
Yeah,
the same time,
nothing
like,
was caused by it. It was just
no,
being
no.
stupid attracts being stupid makes you attracted to different
But
games.
at the same
It's not
time, like, what would then, like, you would be exposing yourself maybe to the more shittier communities, and I guess this could be applied to many games. Um,
yeah.
like
Mm,
a kid who starts playing these games like is exposing themselves to that community, and
yeah.
I was one
necessarily
of
is
those.
that a
Yeah,
good or a bad thing? Like, you
I
know?
take it from personal experience. I took it as a good thing. You know,
Yeah.
because you get a very good perspective on how a lot of people act, and
Hmm.
I just kind of took it and ran with it.
I also,
Um,
Yeah.
it, it was like, you know, and it also helps build up mental toughness because as soon as some
Yeah.
guy says that they fucked your mom for the 450th time in a
I
row,
mean, I
like
did.
it doesn't really affect you anymore. You've kind of heard it all.
I so if we're gonna go through some personal experiences, I think that overall video games, while there is bad communities, I think a smaller percentage are gonna fall into those bad mindsets, like the super hardcore, like the super hardcore left and right. I think is bad for anyone's mental health, but and there is communities of both for any video game. I think that you should teach your kids to be smart enough to be aware of shitty people and let them play their fucking video games and escape life for a
For
minute.
sure. I think that there is one thing that I think is kind of a bad sort of effect from playing a lot of video games.
Mhm.
Um, and I actually think that there's going to be a lot of differing between the three of us on this, but this is the way I see it. Uh, this isn't necessarily like there's other. No, I don't know. I actually think that this might be one of the few aspects or few things that sort of works like this. So, like, I for this podcast, for today, and for just my new office setup, which is built in my closet, by the way, um, I went out and got myself uh, a new headset with a working mic for this, and a new RAM for my computer, which
Yeah.
was needed. Not for gaming, mind you, somewhat, but for mostly for like animating.
Man,
And
you're vibing on the whole. You're vibing on the Sony fucking the first generation Sony.
what?
Any
You're
CEO
vibing with the two core computer.
No, 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 no. But like,
how much RAM did you get?
16
Yeah.
gigs.
Okay, there you go.
But
I
before
don't
I
know.
had, I had like eight
Four?
or six, but like four,
I think you have
but they were
six.
mismatched. Well, I had two sticks of 2 gigabyte and one stick of
Okay, this
four.
is fucking. I have to stop you. This is fucking boring
All right, no, all
for
right. I'll get
anyone.
to what I was actually saying. Okay,
Okay.
so when I was there, I saw shit. So
Yeah.
that wow, that sounds like I saw shit. But like
Some
I
kid was getting stabbed in the back in
I
the
saw
Fortnite section.
like what I saw, like I saw a mouse pad, like a gaming marketed mouse pad for
Okay.
$200.
Jesus.
I saw keyboards for more than that, and sometimes like 150. And I'm thinking to myself,
All right. I
I
have to.
the keyboard
Okay, go
I've been
ahead.
using for years was one that I just fucking grabbed, and it's worked for me.
Okay.
The headset, like I haven't bought a headset since I was like 12. I bought $100 headset yesterday, but like I haven't bought a headset since I was like 12. And like there's all these little things. Like it was like, oh, you got these mice for so much with 100 different programmable buttons, all these little things, and they're all like above $100. And I'm thinking like, how like there are
Okay.
gamers
So,
who will go out and buy that shit and
so let me
continue
stop you
to do
there.
it.
I have so in some cases I think this is about educating your kids and making them pay with their own fucking shit. If they want to
Yeah.
buy, if they go out and work their ass off for $200 and they want to buy a $200 mouse pad, go for it. But in my case, for what I've paid, I have a $200 keyboard, $215. I have a Razer Chroma, and I have to say I have gotten my money's worth out of it. I've had it for almost 6 years now or something ridiculous. It's a nice keyboard. It lights up. And I mean, here, I'll move my mic real quick, which is also a very expensive mic.
Well, the mic
You
is
can
that's you know
listen to that crackle. I mean, I got what I paid for with that.
I can agree with Kai. I've had very expensive keyboards. My first ever keyboard, like the mechanical keyboard I bought that I was used intensively, was around $100, and I've had it since I first started high school.
so
So that's like 5 or 6 years. And the
I
one I have now, I've had for like 2 or 3 now, and it also costs about the same amount. And I've definitely gotten my money's worth in the hours spent on it and the quality that it is contained.
so you guys have your $200 keyboards that you've had for
100.
or $100 keyboards, 100 for you, Riley. Kai, you said 200, didn't you?
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't matter. The point is okay. So you're arguing that the time it's lasted you, the amount of hours you've had using it, and the comfortability versus it. I have a keyboard that is around 10 years old that
Okay.
I found, and I've been using it for I don't know, at least like 5 years,
Oh
and
man,
I've been fairly
now I know
happy.
why you suck. Now I know why you suck at video games.
I I suck at video games because I don't put like too much time into it. But like what I'm saying is like into specific games or anything, you
Yeah.
know. And the games that I like, what is it? Okay. Take Spelunky for example. Super hard. Really is only a keyboard game or controller, depending on what you prefer. Um,
I know
and
you prefer.
I prefer the keyboard on Spelunky for sure.
Really?
But I have been using this keyboard for that, and I'm like up there with the masters of Spelunky, as such a weird sentence that sounds. But like I'm a pretty damn good player of that game, and it has nothing to do with my keyboard. If I had a good like a better keyboard, it wouldn't improve it in any way.
Well, I think that's the general consensus behind computer gaming is that the base level garbage will do just fine for you for like say like CS:GO, which can be run on almost any computer. The base level stuff is good enough and good enough to start. It's about enhancing your experience. Like
Yes,
if I sit down and have a shit TV, I'm not going to enjoy watching it as much as if I had like thousands of
yeah,
dollars spent on a TV.
yeah. That's why I didn't
It's just
mention like monitors or anything.
it's
Like,
just all about the experience. And I say a keyboard and a mouse. Say like my mouse is adjustable weights and buttons. Yeah, I think it all enhances my experience and makes me feel better playing the game.
I
I could
just
agree
So
with that.
I think it's up to discretion, honestly.
the the reason that I brought this up because obviously like that goes for all sorts of things. That level of like, well, it's doable, but I want to make my experience better. Like that's a lot of people, like a chair. You could sit in a chair, you could sit in any chair. I mean, anything's a chair, but like
Yeah,
you can improve your sitting experience with a better ass chair.
yeah.
But like
You
Well, what
can
I'm
get
getting at
lumbar support.
with the intelligence aspect of this is that idea of like, well, take now, Kai. With whatever, I don't
Yeah.
know what your financial situation is now, but from what you've said, it sounds like you're, you know, scrounging a bit more, right?
Well, I don't like spending my savings because any wise person would save that for if they want to do
Exactly.
something big.
Would
So I'm
you
scrounging for the money I make right now to pay rent.
would you now? Would you now if you never had this keyboard that you've had for years? Would you now make that decision to buy that keyboard?
No, I would deal with it until I saved up enough money and really wanted it.
But is that something that you would think like, "Oh, this $200 that I'm saving up. Like that this I instead of like, I don't know, putting this towards some other shit. Like I don't know.
I
I
mean,
guess
that's
my
budgeting 101. I mean, you have the money that you set aside for your bills and any
and then the money
necessities.
is set aside
You have your leisure.
for your cat
It's
ear
like,
headphones
Yeah,
and
Max, if you spend half of your day on your computer, you're already gonna be wanting to get something new and
maybe.
yeah,
something to
But the
help
way
it
that I
out.
say is like I spent well over that amount when I was doing a lot of like animating in high school and like CG animating and all sorts of other shit.
yeah.
And
I think
I
overall,
never ever wanted for a better keyboard.
I think you just haven't been into it yet. You haven't been introduced.
I have.
You come over and you use my nice little keyboard for a while.
I
You'll be wanting to get one for yourself.
to
Max,
be fair,
I'm gonna leave my part of the argument here. I came into my room and got on my main setup here, and the one thing I missed doing was fucking around my keyboard. As soon as I turned on my computer, I was just pressing the keys.
No, it's sense to
okay.
me. I think
I
overall it's up to discretion, but I understand that
I
it
was
might not be the healthiest mindset for children.
overall that's kind of what I was getting with is just like growing up with and eventually reaching that point where that is like something that you fill a lot of your like brain space with like it's like I don't know. At the same time like for most part, I mean I totally agree with this unpopular opinion. Like a lot of like my like writing and like sense of like design and all sorts of like things that are like very pertinent to like what I want to do more with my life now are like have been super influenced by games.
Yeah,
And I think that like my main goal with this was just to play devil's advocate a bit.
yeah, no, I
But
understand.
like I don't like at the same time like this argument could be made for everything, you know. Like
Yeah,
so
The enjoyment you get out of it.
a
yeah, and really
car,
like I spent
food.
I mean, a lot of you like know that I am silly with my money sometimes. Like, I bought a
Yeah, you're
game.
silly with my money sometimes, throwing
I
away my gifts, my
throwing away your
canes.
gifts. What
You gave
gifts?
away, you gave away my
Okay.
cane.
The cane was less of a gift and more of a deal. You were like, you have to use this
Yeah.
to walk around town with the
Look,
cane.
in most of my friendships, I wear the pants. You use the cane that I bought you.
I did.
I spent $25 on that cane. You're gonna use it for that
I
25
think it
bucks a
was more
week.
than $20.
It was 40 bucks or something.
Yeah.
That's a nice cane.
$20 candy shit. That was
I've
like
done
my
a lot.
fave.
I've done a lot with that cane though. I
You made
beat
a
the
cake
shit.
with it.
I beat the shit out of a cake like in front of the ocean with it. Um,
I thought the ocean wasn't real though.
yeah, I mean it isn't. It's like that.
Anyways, let's get on to a better topic.
Black
Just to round us out for the day. Start on something end on something positive. What are some games that never get old to you and always will make you happy to play?
Spelunky,
Even frustratingly happy.
Spelunky.
I'm gonna have to say the mobile game 1010.
Really?
What is that?
I
I've been
got that
playing.
addicted to it.
It's like 5 years running that I've played it. It's kind
Alright.
of I don't know, but it's it's like Tetris on a 10 by 10 grid, and as soon as you connect lines or like rows or columns, then the line or row or column will disappear, and you have various shapes that you put into it.
Oh, I'm gonna
And
look this
it's
up.
just it's kind of monotonous, and it's just a great way for me to. I find it like de-stressing,
Yeah.
Uh,
and I'd say that's the one.
I would say like Spelunky for me has always been like that because it was like
Mhm.
it's just something relaxing to play. I mean, it's really hard, but it's something like relaxing now, and I guess it's always been like just zone out, play this like very, you
Yeah.
know, just kinetic game, I guess. That and
Yeah.
Tetris. Tetris will never get old. Kai, what about
Uh,
you?
Overall, so there's been a couple games that I've played for a very long time. The number one was CS:GO for a long time, and eventually I've started playing CS:GO less and less as I feel like it may just like I don't I think it's kind of died out as a game for me, and I don't think that's because I have 2,000 hours into it. I think it's just I've just played it so much that I've done everything and I'm kind of completed it as a game. I still go back to it every once in a while to play, and I enjoy it. But I think the one game that'll never get old for me and will always make my day worse and better at the same time is Rust.
So
That
Kai, why aren't you gonna play Rust with me? Are you gonna play
I,
Rust with me, Kai?
I said I'd play Rust with you.
Oh, okay.
So Rust has first off the worst player base. It's super toxic, but you get so involved with that toxicity that it feels like you're in a post-apocalyptic environment and it feels like you're trying to survive and it feels like you're doing it. And when you make someone else angry, it's going to be it's temporary anger for them, but it makes you feel good. It indulges the dark side of humanity and makes you feel good about playing the game.
I will
And that's
say.
what I really enjoy about it.
Oh, thank you, Riley. I wasn't. I. You saved me the trouble of having to Google it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say like one thing, Kai.
Hmm.
Uh, like, and I think Riley, you mentioned this once on here is like, we could talk about video games every once in a while, but we should like.
Yeah, of
This
course.
is definitely more of a supposed to be accessible to everyone sort of thing, which is totally fucking fine. Because I actually I had the Riley's video game question. I think Riley, you and I had a lot of the same shit saved. Well, you didn't have
Mm-hmm.
you like what you were looking at was a lot of the shit I saved earlier today. Like I saved that one. Um, yeah, I don't know. Also, Kai, good fucking job for like calling it on perfectly on what time we did go to with this. Because you're
That's
like,
what to say that.
what do you mean?
You ruined the grand illusion.
There's no illusion. Like you haven't watched it. like, cause yeah, we do. I think most of our videos are an hour and 30 or something like that,
Yeah.
right, Riley? Do you remember?
Yeah, just about.
Cause I listened to episode 4, um, recently, and I loved it. I've never like really enjoyed my own shit, but I did actually really enjoy our episode 4, and that's why I really wanted to push for us to do this again. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Uh, Anything else we should touch on? I guess.
No, I think that's pretty good.
Okay, Kai. Uh, did you enjoy your time here? Do you want to come back
I
and
had a
join
good
us
time.
permanently?
I had a good time. I'll be back.
Sweet.
Uh, be back to make people angry.
Okay, I'm
So
thinking.
yeah,
I'm thinking. Yeah. All right. I don't know when this episode will be up, and hopefully there will actually be this a new intro song when we do this, and I'll talk more on that, like when it's up, and when we do our next one. Like we'll talk about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll probably be back within the next few weeks at least. All right, everybody,
all right.
have a nice rest of your
Sayonara.
fucking day, assholes. All right.
Adios, muchachos.
I don't know where I was trying to start a voice and do a thing, but I definitely lost it. All right, I am
All right.
cutting it out.